I was chopping it up with one of my clients this week, and great session, great mentoring session this week. Um, she's building a real estate business, and we've been working together for a month now. So this is our fourth or fifth session that we have worked together, and good session. And one of the things she was talking about was just her portfolio. Right now she has 5 investment properties, and her goal is to grow to 15 investment properties in the next 3 years. She wants that income to replace her job. She currently works for the federal government, and because of just how uncertain things have been in the federal government, she stressed a strong desire to purchase many properties over the next few years to become financial independent, right? And retire from the federal government. And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I like that strategy. I've been talking to a few people that's had the same similar strategy of leaving the federal government. But one thing that stuck out for me during our conversation, during this recent mentoring session, one of the things that stuck out was just her frustration. Well, first and foremost, her frustration with just the overall global economy, how things are going as far as inflation, how much interest rates are up right now. She really stressed her frustration about this administration and how hard things have been on folks that are rent, that have investments. She got right now 2 clients, 2 properties of folks that haven't paid in over 60 days, I believe the time period has been. And so she hasn't been happy about that. She talked about that there's been a major restructuring or organizational restructure at her job that's making everybody uncomfortable as well, right? So she's feeling it from all the way around. The moment she talked about this, and we get into different, our sessions, we usually talk about a lot, especially music. Recently, we think of the one we had just a couple weeks ago. We was talking about the Jay-Z, some of the statements Jay-Z made in his freestyle and a few other things. So we have great conversation, great chemistry, but there was a few things that stuck out when she talked about just her frustration with the business. And every time, she got the 5 properties, people are in, and everybody's paying on time, then 2 drops off, right? It's always been inconsistency with that. So this has been on my mind because, her frustration is something I've been seeing from a lot of folks that I've been receiving messages from. Just this overall climate that we're in, the uncertainty that's in the market today when it comes to your investments. I just had somebody was talking about Bitcoin, their frustration with that, and I think based on the messaging, it felt like they got in a little late on Bitcoin, and really need to define exactly what Bitcoin is. It's really a hedge. I wouldn't look at it as an investment vehicle. But that's not the point. The point has been that I have seen this consistently, this kind of talk that's been going on across different areas. The other thing that stuck out for me this week in this call was she talked about, although 2 clients are not paying, 2 out of 5 rental properties, these are townhomes, although 2 of them are not paying, she continued to pretend as if everything is going correct. Everything is going well. And I asked her, I said, wait, what do you mean pretend? She said that the act as if conversation that we had a few weeks ago, I thought you were saying that means pretending. And I said, wait, you didn't hear that from me. I didn't ever say that act as if means pretending. She said, well, I listened to a couple of videos over the last few weeks, and a couple of videos and shorts she saw said that pretending until it becomes true. You have to pretend or fake it till you make it type of theme behind it. And I said, all right, cool, bet. That wasn't to me then. I didn't teach you that because that didn't come from my voice. And she said, no, it didn't come from you, but I thought this is what pretending mean. So I asked her, what do you think? What does acting as if, what does that mean when we say act as if? How do you see that, or how do you view that when you hear in our mentoring sessions that acting as if it is already done? So what do that mean to you? She said, well, based on what I've been watching and seeing, I thought that means that I should, try to stay positive. When, I realize a person has lost their job, and they've been paying their rent on time, remain positive. Try to tell myself everything is going to work out, right? Just having a positive mindset. And I think her response just really explains it all, right? And it's just not her. This is not just a her conversation. This is just what I've been seeing over the past 6 to 9 months. When you are pretending, there's a challenge with pretending. When you're pretending, pretending is faking it. It's not real, right? It causes all types of issues mentally when you're pretending. The main reason why pretending, let's check it out. Let's do 2 scenarios here, right? Just to understand how acting if versus pretending, right? You can have 2 investors, right? Both investors own 5 rental properties, and they want to own 10 in the next 18 months, right? The first investor hears act as if. Act as if you already own 10 properties. So he start playing the part, right? So he start buying expensive clothes. He buys a expensive vehicle, right? He posts motivational quotes on Instagram, right? When people ask him how your rental investment's going, he exaggerates the success, right? He add a little bit of spice to his conversation about the rental properties, right? But behind closed doors, when people are not watching, he's watching that interest rate constantly, daily, right? He's worrying about, all right, just heard about some layoffs. Is that going to impact me? Right? He's questioning himself on a daily basis. What if this mess don't work? You see the difference? The act as if nothing inside of him changed. He just cosplaying, right? He just playing for the cameras, right? Just trying to convince people that everything is cool and smooth. While the second investor owns 5 properties, but when they hear act as if, they interpret it differently, right? They ask themselves, all right, I already own 10 properties. How will I think about my problems today? Right? With one vacancy How would I act with one vacancy in my properties? Would I obsess over every headline that goes out on Fox 5 or CNN or NBC News about the real estate market? Would I over-obsess about it? Probably not. So that person starts making decisions from a different identity, right? Identity of a person that's already done, already has accomplished what they wanted, right? They spend their time learning about strategy. They're not beating themselves up about external things. You get what I'm saying? So pretending it's really just trying to convince the world you're not something. You're someone that you're not. Acting as if is becoming the person who naturally creates the future you want. So as we ended we got to the end of our mentoring session, I asked her, say, hey, what does someone who owns let's say someone who owns 10 properties, what did that look like, right? In your field that you're in, a person that owns 10 to 15 investment properties, what did that look like for them, right? What is that experience? She said, well, there's a couple people she follows online, that creates content and talks about these properties and buying properties. So I asked her, what do they think about? What are they talking about, right? How are they learning? What books are they reading, right? And she started getting the point, what I was saying. How do they react when a tenant is tapped out? A tenant is that can't pay the rent for the month. How does they act? Right? What do that look like? Do they panic? Are they stressing, or they're calm at all times? Knowing that they will be able to solve for that challenge. Right? So she got the point. And I hope you're getting the point as well. I gave her a homework assignment because I really want her to dig into this and get away from any of the lessons online. We all heard those things before. Fake it till you make it. But that doesn't change you internally. Faking it till you make it, again, just playing yourself. So I really want her to get this embodiment, being able to embody the identity, the frequency of the desired reality that you want. So I gave her a 14-day homework, and you can also take this as well. This will shift you forever. This has been one of those. This is the third time I have used this in the last year or so, and I think it's been very effective. In fact, it has received a lot of great feedback from clients, right? So I'm giving this away for free for you to listen to or to take in today. But what I'm asking her to do for 14 days, and I did do a check-in. She said she's doing it. She's sticking to it. And it's the reason why I like working with her, because she's serious. She's not playing. She's not dress rehearsing. She's really about that life. So, but what I asked her to do is set an alarm on her phone to go and make it go off every 4 hours. And when that alarm goes off, I want her to ask 3 questions, right? One question is, am I acting from a current identity or a future identity, right? That's a check-in, right? Every 4 hours, the alarm goes off. First question she should ask herself, am I reacting from my current identity or the future identity that I desire? The second question I want her to ask herself is, what would the version of me who already has the life I want do in the situation. And in her situation, there's a desire for to build this portfolio, right? Currently at 5, want to get to 15, so 10. What does that life look like, right? That version of you look like that already has it, right? And then the third question, what decisions can you make today that aligns with that person, right? So 4 hours, every 4 hours, the alarm gonna go off, ask those 3 questions. Anytime she's trying to balance her statements, right? Think from that identity, right? As she looks, she got, I think she had some type of Claude built in. She told me about, which I was excited about. But she did some type of agent that allows the data to get pulled from her bank to a spreadsheet or something like that. And I told her, I said, well, then look at it from the identity of a person that's already done it. That person that already got 15 to 20 rental properties, and make decisions from that version. And she said she's on it. And so far, she's been on it so far. But what I've seen with clients that have done this process for 14 days is those small decisions start becoming more natural, right? It's not feeling like a pretend anymore. It's not cosplaying. It's not fakeness with it. These decisions now starting to flow, right? And eventually the person becomes that identity of the person that holds that 15 to 20 properties or whatever the goals is. So I'm gonna tell you the reason why this exercise is so impactful, right? I like to provide receipts, as you guys know. I always like to provide receipts on the ways that you can meet or reach your desired reality. But the main reason why this strategy works, this exercise works, is because of the subconscious mind. You have to understand you got two minds. You have a conscious mind that's very logical, right? The conscious mind really deals with the 3D, the physical world, and then you got the subconscious mind that it's the hidden mind, right? It's the 4D. Call it whatever you want to call it, but 4D, the source. I like to think of it as a computer, right? Maybe not the best analogy, but I look at it like a data analyst, right? A data analyst doesn't make decisions based on like just one piece of information. They're looking for trends and patterns and key indicators and things like that, right? Your subconscious mind acts the same way. It's not judging your experience. It's not making any decisions based on your decisions or anything like that. Your subconscious mind is really just looking for patterns, right? Where you put your attention to. Where is your focus at all day? If your focus is on two properties are down right now, haven't got no rent income. If that's your focus, the subconscious mind is just gonna loop that experience. It's gonna loop that experience, right? Now everything you're gonna see is gonna be related to that experience. So the goal is to rewire the subconscious mind. And how do you do that is by what you focus on. What do you put your attention to? What are you embodying? And the more the subconscious mind can see and record exactly what your attention is and your focus is, the more of reality that you will experience of that. Right? So if every day you're studying investing, you're thinking like an investor, you're making decisions like an investor, you surround yourself with investors, your subconscious mind will start reorganizing that experience in your life. You'll start getting more of that in your life. Right? Same thing, if anything, fitness. If every day you choosing more healthier meals, going to the gym, right? You're tracking your workouts. If you're doing all of that, the subconscious mind said, okay, this is what this person wants. Here's the experience. Day traders, same thing. You want to be a day trader. So it's important that you train the subconscious mind on the things that you want. I think the better question you should ask yourself is, what are you repeatedly teaching your subconscious mind to believe that is important for you? Right? And that's why I told my client that, hey man, look, stop trying to convince yourself that you have these properties already, right? Spend your energy and frequency becoming the kind of investor who can naturally produce those properties, right? And that starts with shifting your frequency, shifting your identity, right? Same thing goes for anybody. I got somebody said, hey, I want to make $50,000 per month in income from my business. It's the same playbook, right? Don't focus on the money. The money is the result, right? That's the effect. Start with the cause, okay? That's you internally, right? Ask yourself better questions. Who is the entrepreneur making $50,000 a month? How do they spend their mornings? What do they listen to? What podcasts are they watching? How many books are they reading every day? Right? You get my point. So, again, I've been thinking about this since our last session. I did a check-in yesterday, and she's staying locked in on on the exercise. And already, by the way, with the exercise, I told her, if you really want to keep it real, if you really, really want to keep it a 1,000, keep the alarm on at nighttime too. And she said she's done it based on the text, so, and what I mean by that is every 4 hours, if that 4 hours pop off at 2 a.m., wake yourself up, ask those 3 questions. If it pops off at 6 a.m., wake yourself up, ask those 3 questions, right? Don't change, don't turn the alarm off at bedtime. Ask yourself the questions. What am I reacting from my current identity or my future identity? Second question, what would the version of me who already has the life I want do in this situation right now? Not tomorrow or next year, this would right now, what would the version of me do at this point right now? And then 3, what decisions I can make today that's going to align me with that person, right? Ask those 3 questions every day, every 4 hours, including nighttime. This is the type of work I'm doing I have a mentorship program. I try to limit it to 7 to 9 individuals right now. My program is called Pythium X. It's a 6-month program. It's a mentoring program. Again, my focus is not on strategy, working on your strategy or marketing plan or any of that. The type of people that I attract are already successful. They're already getting it, right? They already making income. This is not for somebody who's just getting started that, got tired of their job and say, hey man, I'm got to find me something different and then reach out to me. No, this is not for those individuals. This is for somebody that's in the trenches right now that has had success, and maybe hit a plateau or maybe hitting stagnation, or maybe self-sabotaging. Every time they hit the goal, they're going back. As Jay-Z used to say, call me right back. Right? That's for this that's what this is for. So check out my program. The link is in the description. If you're not ready for the program or the commitment yet, then just download my free guide. I got a free guide called Divine Identity Blueprint. And it covers some of the stuff that we talked about today. You know, some of the subconscious work. There are things that are hitting in our subconscious mind sometimes that we are not aware of, that resonates, especially when we are in pressure environments like we are today, with what my client was talking about, with the uncertainty with the market, with the uncertainty with the federal government, with the uncertainties of investments, food prices. We spent probably 10 to 15 minutes just talking about how much groceries have gone up in the last 3 months. Now, right? So we can see that things are shifting, right? So again, to download the guide, it's free, right? And it'll go through some of these fundamentals. But yeah, the link should be in the description. So make sure you check the guide out. One last thing, remember, don't act like you have it, right? Become the person who already has it, right? And that's the drive.